Spain has been one of the most outspoken countries on Gaza, plus it's one of the few EU nations that is calling for a ceasefire and an independent Palestinian state. And it's shown unwavering support for Ukraine. Spain's foreign minister is on an official visit to Turkey to reinforce the already strong relations between both countries and to discuss regional issues. I'm Maria Ramos and I sat down with Spain's foreign minister, José Manuel Albares, here in Madrid. Your Excellency, thank you so much for speaking to us here on TRT World. Great to have you with us. Now, given your official visit to Turkey, how would you describe relations between the two countries and how are they progressing?
We have a very good relation that started to be a very traditional relation since many decades ago. We are both Mediterranean countries, and therefore we share values and we share a common view of our neighborhood. At the same time, we are NATO allies, and therefore we exchange very often about security concerns. And both Spain and Turkey, we have a strong voice and a strong role, both in Ukraine and in Gaza. And therefore we are reinforcing our relationship.
And you have an important bilateral meeting coming up also with Spain later on in the year. What areas, if at all, could you improve what are already excellent relations between Turkey and Spain?
Certainly, we will continue insisting on our political dialogue, both for our bilateral relation, but also to have a common vision on the Mediterranean, on Ukraine, on Gaza, on what's going on in world affairs. Secondly, there are almost 700 Spanish enterprises that are present in Gaza in many sectors, in banking, automobile, textile, tourism, which is also a main center of interest for both of us. And finally, there is the cultural exchange. There is a possibility of learning each other's languages and getting to know better each other's culture. All that will be on the table.
Fantastic. Now, Foreign Minister, you are so busy. Whenever I look at the TV screen, there's so much going on with Spain. Spain is very active. You're very active. You've just come back from Egypt and Jordan, your third tour of the region. How would you describe right now Spain's standing internationally, on the international stage?
Spain has a strong voice. We are a country that has a dialogue going from Washington to Beijing. We were last year in the White House, and a few weeks before we were in the presidential palace in Beijing. It's a country that is able to have a very successful for Europe presidency of the EU, as we had last semester of last year, and at the same time to host a crucial NATO summit right after the Russian aggression to Ukraine. So Spain has this strong voice. And at the same time, I think that the perception of the country is that we are a reliable partner. We are not close on ourselves. We are always ready to work with our friends, allies, and partners in the world to solve what is world's issues and world threats.
And that question, solving world issues, the situation in Gaza right now, do you think that peace in the Middle East is possible?
It must be possible. We own it. We own it to the Palestinian people. We own it to the Israeli people. We own it to all the countries in the Middle East. I don't think that the fate of the Middle East, the fate of the Palestinian people, of the Israelis, is war and violence everywhere. The Spanish position is very clear. We will do everything in our hand to bring peace, not only immediate peace. We are calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
And Spain has called for an international peace conference. Is that a solution? Is that the solution?
The peace conference must be the place in which everyone, the whole international community, will recognize a Palestinian state, a real and viable Palestinian state. For me, that's the West Bank and Gaza under one single Palestinian Authority, connected by a corridor with a port and an exit to the sea in Gaza and the capital in East Jerusalem. And at the same time, all the Arab countries will normalize the relationship with Israel and will give the security guarantees that Israel legitimately needs.
Absolutely. And just very quickly, is there a date, a framework, a timetable for this peace conference yet?
No, because of course we need first that the weapons go silent. And right now we are very, very worried about the situation in Gaza. What we see is everyday war continue to increase and to rage.
Absolutely. I want to move to Ukraine. A peaceful solution for Ukraine. What does Spain see there?
For us, what we want is a peace that is within the United Nations charters. We uphold the same principles everywhere. And a peace that upholds the principles of the United Nations Charter is a peace that will respect sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. We are in front of a war of aggression. Ukraine was not a threat to the sovereignty of Russia. An unjust war cannot end with an unjust peace. We need a peace that will guarantee the existence, the territorial integrity, and the sovereignty of Ukraine.
Now, dialogue between Ukraine and also Russia has been very important for Turkey. It's a country that has spoken to both leaders. What chance do you see right now for peace talks between Ukraine and Russia?
We commend the role of Turkey, and when I meet my colleague, I always recall that Turkey is doing a lot to bring to the same table Russia and Ukraine to facilitate the Ukraine agreements. We are not going to stop any efforts to bring peace. Once again, we are starting the third year of war, so I cannot say that I'm optimistic. But certainly there must be an end to that war. President Zelensky has put on the table a peace plan. It's a good possibility to start to explore it. Ukraine is calling for a peace conference. Unfortunately, I don't hear very much Russia talking about peace. I see Ukraine making those efforts. And all of us, all the international community, Turkey, Spain, all those countries that want to bring peace, we can play a role.
And just remind us why Spain is such a staunch supporter of Ukraine.
Because everywhere we uphold the principles of the United Nations Charter, equal sovereignty of states, to abolition of war as a way of settling disputes among countries, territorial integrity, sovereignty, all those principles, the protections of civilians, as in Gaza. There are thousands of Ukrainians, civilians, innocent people that are dying. And the second thing is because we thought that war, it's something that was gone in Europe. And we have seen war, and which war? A war of aggression coming back, and already for a third year.
With regards, exactly, we're into a third year now, military supplies to Ukraine. Do you see the possibility maybe of the European Union taking over the role of supplying weapons to Ukraine instead of the United States?
What's going on in Ukraine, it's of course important, first of all, for the Ukrainians and for their sovereignty, but it's also a matter of Euro-Atlantic security. So I wouldn't like to see the United States being disengaged. And the current administration, the Biden administration, at least, they don't want to disengage. Of course, Europe must take a step forward, and we are doing it. We have very recently adopted at a European level in Brussels a fund specifically aimed to aid Ukraine and to provide them with ammunition, which is the most urgent need, and also with weapons. So we must take our part of the burden. We are doing it. We are doing also granting the accession status to the European Union to Ukraine, hosting refugees from Ukraine, giving humanitarian aid and also military equipment. But I wouldn't like to see United States being disengaging, because this is a matter of Euro-Atlantic security.
Tell us about how it feels to represent Spain on the international stage. We see you a lot on our TV cameras in many different countries. What are some of your best memories?
There are two memories that have struck me during this period. It's a great honor to be Minister of Foreign Affairs of Spain, to represent Spain outside the country. One is about a month after I was appointed as Foreign Minister. There was the fall of the Kabul airport, and we had to repatriate all the Spaniards that were there, our embassy, our Afghan collaborators, and many women and men that were in danger at that moment. So preparing that operation and feeling the solidarity of the Spanish people for that, it's a very, very hard moment for me. In a sad way also, I remember very much the day I got the phone call telling me that the Russian invasion had started in Ukraine. It was probably between 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and the High Representative was phoning me to give me that sad news that the war was back in Europe. But at the same time, I've had the chance to host a NATO summit here in Madrid as a foreign minister, and also to be the presidency of the EU, something that happens more or less every 15 years. And the fact that Spain has contributed to the security of NATO and all the allies, and to foster European Union to make it advance, that will always be a great memory for me.
And out of all these memories and experiences, Foreign Minister, what would you say, if you can pick, what are you most proud of so far?
The reaction that we had together with other countries regarding the Russian aggression. It was not that easy to do it. When you are confronted to something that is unexpected, a war of aggression, it happens in another country, and you have very few hours to take decision with the other 26 countries in Europe. It was not granted that we respond with that solidarity to Ukraine and upholding the United Nations principles, and we managed to do it.
Excellent. Minister, thank you so much.
Thank you.